At the darkest period of my life, I was faced with the biggest opportunity for my business. So Monica mentioned one business. My other business is a balloon decor company. So my biggest client reaches out to me and they want me to do this large event. And this is all at the same time that my grandmother who raised me has just come out of the hospital and is in hospice care. And pretty much everything in my life is on hold at this point. But I can't pass up this opportunity. So I get excited, talk to the client, get the client booked, and I'm ready to go. Then the excitement turns to anxiety. Then the anxiety turns to overwhelm. Somewhere along the way, we reach panic. Trying to figure out, sometimes my confident self signs me up for things that the rest of me might not be ready for. So in that moment, I'm, in a state of anxiety. And at this phase of my life, my anxiety was paralyzing. So I'm physically ill. I am, just struggling to move through the process. So the rational side of me keeps saying, just keep going, just keep working, pull it together. So I start pulling it together, and here comes the obstacles. My supplies are a day late, so that's pushing me behind schedule. Okay, all right, I'm gonna work with what I got and keep pushing. So I'm moving forward. The supplies come in the night before the event. I'm up all night working, pushing forward, knowing that in this one night I have to do what I know is about a good 2-3 days worth of work. And I've done it before, but this is a little different. So I work through the night. We're heading into the morning. The adrenaline has kicked in. I get a phone call. It's my husband. Beautiful man right there. He's going to get the U-Haul. On the way to get the U-Haul, he gets an offender bender with a police officer. So now I'm like, are you okay? So everything is fine, and I'm just trying to figure out, my mind's going a million places of where that's going to go. And luckily, he got an officer friendly like our friendship is. And they, let everything go. He gets the U-Haul. He comes and picks me up. I am literally working in the U-Haul all the way to the venue. So I get to the venue. I meet the client. This is a new client. Never met them before. And this is a huge event, so there's a million parts and pieces. So the meeting of the client was literally hot. And I'm just moving and I'm just trying to get as much done as I can, hoping that I can make up some stuff towards the end. And as I'm going in and out of this venue, each time, as the time is ticking, the realization is setting in, you're not going to finish this. You're not going to get it all done. This is the first time I've ever not fulfilled what I promised. So each trip, I'm welling up a little more. But I got to be professional. I can't let them see me sweat. I got to keep going. And I'm trying. And I get back in that U-Haul when, the time is up. And I just fall out crying. So now 2 things have happened. I've never not fulfilled a job. And I've certainly never cried on a job. I'm not a crier. So why am I telling you this story? Because we all fail. At some point, at some time, it's a part of life. We all fail. But this didn't show up on my Instagram. I didn't take a picture of this for Facebook. I don't highlight this story, but it happened. It happened. And the thing about failure is, or failing, you can fail, but that does not make you a failure. It's a moment. It just means you're human. The other thing about failure is it's a teacher. It's a great teacher. In that moment, I learned how to better address my anxiety, know when it's coming on so that I can make adjustments accordingly. I also learned how to bounce back. But most of all, I learned how to be human. We strive for perfection, and then we feel like we're wrong when we have moments that are human. I don't want anyone to feel alone in that feeling. The growth that comes from failing, that growth comes from what you do next. Because you're going to fail. It's inevitable at one time or another. But it's what you do next that makes a difference. So, in this instance, I cried. I cried. Ooh, I cried. But I couldn't even sulk the way I wanted to sulk because I had another job afterwards. So I had to dry those tears. And at that time I used to bake as well. I had to dry those tears and go ice a cake and move on. But the next thing I did was I went back to that client. I apologized. I didn't explain. Just apologize, because that's what I owed them, an apology. And I offered to make it right. And I had to sit with the fact that maybe I had burned a bridge with this dream client. I had to sit in that. But just as much as we are going to fail in life, we live in a world of second chances. So 6 months later, after I knew we just had broke all the way up, that client reached out. And that client wanted to do a job together. And me and that client have been doing jobs together ever since. But I didn't sit in that moment of failure. Sometimes we let it own us. Sometimes we let it put us in a space where we're ashamed, we hide. And I share my story because I want you to share your stories. Because I know everybody in this room has a story, or two, or three. I want you to share your story so that nobody else feels alone in this world that's constantly Instagram ready.